And we're back. It's day 3 of working with Denny with the Kula Lunge Training System. Denny is an 11 or 12-year-old stock horse cross from the farm. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I have found out Denny has actually carried goats across his wither. So in his previous life as a working horse, he was a mustering horse, so he'd muster cattle, possibly sheep, I'm not sure about sheep, and feral goats. And when the feral goat would sit down, he would have to carry that feral goat across his shoulders. And also apparently he would have dogs on his hindquarter when the dog would get tired. I mean, we've done that before. Back when we used to muster cattle, especially our young dogs would get tired, we'd pop them across the wither. So as you can see today, Denny's getting more responsive to my voice aid. So all I'm really looking for is for him to be calm and smooth and connected. So the smoother he gets, the more connected he gets, the easier it is for me to ride him. So if I can get him more smooth and more connected from the ground, this then carries through to under saddle. So I've worked with numerous horses without the Kula Lunge Training System because I did only design the system or start to create the system in 2014. And I'm telling you now, it's easier with the Kula Lunge Training System. So he's still wanting to fall out of that outside shoulder a little bit, but he is listening and he is responding more to my voice commands and to my body language, and we can stop. And the flies are driving him nuts. That's not him being naughty, that is flies. They are relentless, even with fly spray on. And obviously it would be much easier if you could hear me talk at the time. But I'm finding with the wind, and I can't seem to get my earpods to Bluetooth to my MacBook to record my voice. And then in this particular day, we also had the electricians here making quite the racket in the shed when they were rewiring the shed and installing power points and stuff. So unfortunately it's voiceover, or otherwise there's just no commentary at all. So I will actually be turning the sound down on the video because there's just loads of wind in the background. So I'm just doing a little adjustment, tightening up the side reins a little bit. But as you can see, Denny's happier for me to approach him now, which is one of my other goals, is to be able to comfortably approach him on the ground without him acting like I'm going to kill him, which is what he was doing. And I know the horse has been treated very well for his entire life, so there's certainly no issues on that front. He's just being ridiculous. Does stand to reason because he's still a little bit difficult to catch, but I've now discovered if I walk up to him with a bucket, even if it's empty, he will happily let me catch him. And he's already learned to stop to go to the toilet, so clearly I've trained him well. Even though I don't like them doing that, it does make it easier for me to pick up the manure on the arena. So it's a bit of a catch-22. And I do believe, if you can hear me in the background, that was Jockey just came to check out the screen of my MacBook and give it a good sniff. But unfortunately, because he's so close to the screen, like he literally sniffed the screen, it didn't pick it up on camera. I'm quite disappointed. But I am glad that he didn't move the screen. It's very little value of me doing this if you can't actually see what's happening. As you can see, he's got a much more even rhythm and tempo. This horse has got a good natural rhythm, which makes things easier. He's been trained to come on the bit already. I highly doubt that the people that rode him would use that term, but he's happy to go round and in a connected frame. So he's going to be quite a comfortable horse to ride. So the value of using the long lines versus just lunging him is the outside rein gives me a little bit more control over that outside shoulder. And also if he does want to charge off, then I can steady him. It's much more difficult to do that with just one lunge line. And to begin with, I did find Denny was just wanting to charge off rather than work in that round connected frame with an even rhythm and tempo. We sort of just like literally ran around. So he's still a little chargy in the canter when we get to canter, but walk and trot is much more connected and good even rhythm and tempo. Alright, he's getting better at changing direction as well. As I've explained before, sometimes directional changes can cause a debacle. They're seeing you out of a different corner, like a different eye. So sometimes it's just like the outside reins coming across their bottom differently. I don't know, any number of things can set them off. And we're trying for canter. Good boy. So you can see I'm not trying to stress him out, just slowly easing into the canter as time goes on. I will ask him to canter from a more collected, connected trot. And Pyvo people, if you're watching, I need another Pyvo. I broke mine. It's in 2 pieces. And it no longer Bluetooths to my earbuds because it's in 2 pieces. That's it, he's just falling out of that outside shoulder a little bit, but he's staying connected. And oops, I can see now I've lost my outside rein, and that's why he's falling out of the outside shoulder. That was human error. I got my reins tangled around and with the whip, and I dropped the outside rein. But again, it doesn't have to be a big deal. If you've dropped a rein, don't make it a big deal. Just keep them cruising around, get them on a small enough circle so you can pick up your outside rein, and then life goes on. If your horse is going to freak out because there's a rope dragging behind it, you've got a problem. Things are going to drag behind them. Things happen. So they need to be able to deal with those situations, not have a raging meltdown. As you can see, he's still not completely happy with me approaching him, but I just shower him with attention and give him loads of pats, and he's slowly getting used to the idea. I think it's also the fact that I am a strange person. I've had very limited contact with Denny prior to him coming here. In fact, he's had very limited human contact in the past couple of years. So now we're just going to essentially do the same thing back the other way now, just getting walking, trottering and cantering. There's not a vast amount of difference with what we do, but what we're looking for is for the horse to progress and improve with each training session. If he's not improving, then what I'm doing isn't working and I need to adjust my training accordingly, but I can see that the horse is improving, so we'll just keep going along the lines that we are. If I had a pivo, then I'd be moving him around the arena as well, but like I said, it's in 2 pieces, so I've got to get another one. So I'm a little bit stuck to trying to stay in front of the computer screen at the moment. But that's fine. Good, that was a much better canter transition. This canter looks more balanced on this. Oh no, it's not quite more balanced. It's just not staying canter as much on this side. He struggles a little bit to stay in the canter, whereas the other side he bounds around, but he is sort of running as well on both sides in the canter. I'd like to get that a little bit more connected before he goes under saddle. And again, this is just training and practice. This would be the first time the horse has ever been worked in a dressage arena as well. In fact, I was on the phone to somebody about the 2011 floods the other day, and she was discussing the house damage, and she's like, "You keep saying that word dressage. What does that mean?" And she's like, "I'm going to Google it." So she Googled it, and she's like, "Oh my God, from the aerial shot, I thought you just had a giant sandpit in your backyard." I'm like, "No, that's a dressage arena." So like I said, this will be the first time this horse has seen a dressage arena. I always like to stop and pat and reward throughout the session. It's not just a matter of having them run around in circles around me. There has to be interaction. They have to know when they've done the right thing. And there has to be communication. It's not like I'm going to ride my horse for half an hour or 40 minutes or however long it is you ride for, and then not pat the horse or talk to the horse. It's like, "Oh, well, you've done that now, that's it, let's just keep going." No, you reward them by giving them a free walk. You reward them by stopping them and giving them a pat. You reward them by taking the pressure off, which is what I'm doing here. I reward him by letting him stop for a minute and giving him a pat. And that's it from us for today. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to our channel, Kula Lunge Training System.